Hello everybody, Rosemary here from the Sweet Poppy Stencils design team. I hope you're all keeping well and welcome to our Inspiration Day, the first one of the year for 2026. Today I'd like to share with you how to make this card that I made. I hope you like it and I'll explain what we need as we go along. So for this card, we're going to be using some Bockingford watercolour card, which is available from Sweet Poppy Stencils. And I'm just using an A5 sheet. So I've just cut it in half. And for the background, I've used worn lipstick and spiced marmalade distress oxide sprays. And I'm going to start with the worn lipstick. So I'm going to spray my card with a little bit of water. I'm just going to flatten it down there a bit. So I'm going to use the worn lipstick first. So I'm just going to spray a little bit on my mat. And then I'm going to pick my card up, wet side down, and I'm just going to press it into the ink. It looks like it's really sort of a dark pink, so I'm just adding, because I don't want it very dark, I'm just adding some more water. I've got my little cloth, just a bit of kitchen towel just to mop up some of that, and then I'm going to press it back in again. And there we go. I think that's enough pink. Now, I'll just leave that to dry naturally. So here's one I did earlier. So this is my pink one. So I'm now going to spray my spiced marmalade. When I've finished, I will make sure that I clean the lids so they don't get clogged up. And again, I'm going to spray some water. And I only want a small amount of orange to go onto my card. So I'm now going to spray that with water as well. So I just want it, again, pale in the background. I don't want it overpowering the pink. I just want some little bits of colour. Spray that bit there. That's better. And that's what I want, is the light orange from the watered down ink. Mop that up. And then that's another background. I'm happy with that. Look at that. So I'm also going to leave that to dry. Oh, leave that to dry naturally. And here's one I made earlier. Give a surface a good clean. Okay, so here's our background. And we're using the Ginkgo stencil, and I'm placing it more towards the top. So that I know I've got enough space to do my stamping. And this part here I usually keep and can use it for some tags, presents or something like that. So we're going to paste now. So we need our masking tape. That's okay. I've got another one here. So let's use this. See, that's faffing about. Okay, so we're going to start at the top. We're going to put 2 pieces up the top. And we need to make sure that they're nice and tightly stuck down. And then we're going to do 2 pieces at the bottom. Now I'm pressing down on my stencil to make sure that that doesn't lift, because it will go onto the card. And I want to cover the whole of the bottom part, because I don't want to get no paste on it at all. Okay. And then 2 down either side. Or 1 down that side and 2 down this side. Just to make sure that the card is covered. Okay. I'm going to paste from the top of the stencil to the bottom, because that's what I did the other day and it worked quite well. And we're going to place our paste at the top of our stencil. All the way along. And we got our scraper, or our spreader, I mean, sorry, it's not scraper, spreader. And I'm just going to gently place it at the top and hold it at an angle, but I'm not pressing, I'm just pulling. I just pulled. Whoops, a daisy. That doesn't normally happen. And then I'm just going to scrape it back into the pot. And I'm just going to give one more swipe. Oops. There we go. You don't need to press, you just need to pull. That's all we do, is pull. And then I'll just cover my lid. I'm going to clean my pot in a little while. Right, I'm just going to take off the side pieces and that top piece. And there we go. And then the next piece. Try and take one piece at a time. I'm just left with one at the top and one at the bottom. Pull it towards me so I can press down underneath the stencil. Take that piece off. Press down underneath the stencil, get my nail underneath and lift and pull. And there's our beautiful Ginkgo stencil. I just need to go and put these in water. So there's our beautiful stencil in the gold paste. So now I'm going to give it a bit of texture by heat embossing it. And let me put the lid back on. And I'm going to be using polished gold super fine wow embossing powder. Whoops, daisy. I'm just going to pour it on. I should have a piece of card on paper under there. Right, there's no excess embossing powder on the card except for the little bit there, which is the residue from the tape. But as you can see, it quite easily wipes off. Pour that back into my little pot. And there we go. Okay. So now we're going to heat emboss. We're going to heat emboss our card, and I've just noticed there's a little bit of residue there, and a tiny little bit there. If you just give it a tiny nudge, you can blow it off. And there we go. So we're now going to use our embossing tool, our heat tool, to heat emboss the paste and embossing powder. It doesn't take too long to start bubbling, and once it does, it's quite quick. Just adds a little bit of texture to the leaves. So that's that done. It's all heated, so it all looks good. And that's that part done. Okay, so because that's still hot, I'm going to change to one I did earlier. And I'm going to now do the sentiment. So I'm using Sending Hugs. Oops, so this is the new, some of the new sentiments. So you've got Just to Say Hello and Sending Hugs. And these were sentiment 1. And they came with the 12 Days of Christmas. So I'm going to put that just there. Okay. And now I need a stamping platform. There it is there. Right, so we're using a stamping platform. Oops. Right, so now I've got to make sure I'm happy where that is. Okay. So I'm going to use Versamark Claire in Nocturne. comes out really beautiful. And then I'm going to use, I'm going to clean my stamp. And then I'm going to use VersaFine over the top. And then I'm still going to use my gold embossing paste. Embossing powder. And there's just right, let's put that back in the pot before we heat emboss. And I'm going to heat emboss out a sentiment. And there's our sentiment heat embossed as well. And it's, I know I use black, but it still comes out like gold. Covers up the black underneath. And that's our card. For the final touch, if you wish, you can either leave your card like that, or I put some, as you can see, I put some splatters around the edge. But this would be your own personal choice. So these little bits. I covered up my image because I didn't want to splat any, and then I can move it about just so that you can see. Then I've got a little bit of water and quite a, it's not too thick, just a thick paintbrush, or thickish. And if you just gently put it in water and then give it a little gentle tap, it just leaves small splodges of water on your card. If you want to put a few extra bits in, just don't want to do too many. And then you just get your embossing powder and you just sprinkle over the splodges. And then you heat emboss it. Or it's just a different way that you could get your splodges in the background matching what you've used on your card. Or you could just use Posca pen, gold Posca pen. I'll still be trimming the card down, so some of these won't be on there, so you could do it after you've trimmed your card down. And as you see, they're heating up, so the embossing powder will still be attached to the card, and it's just water holding it on. Trying not to heat up the flowers anymore, so that's why I'm aiming my heat tool down. It all adds a little bit more texture to your card. And there we go. That's that done. And then we're just going to trim our card down to the size we want. Oops, a daisy. So that's our card trimmed, and then I just mounted it onto a piece of gold card that I measured and trimmed down to the same size. And then it's just put onto a A4 piece of card folded in half, and then I just cut the bottom. I mounted it all on there, and then I just cut the bottom off, and that's your finished card. I hope you've enjoyed watching my video. I'd like to wish you all the best for the new year, and I hope you enjoy all the inspiration that Sweet Poppy design team are bringing you today, and I look forward to seeing you next month. See you later. Bye.